everyone, it's Sarah, the host of Unmuzzled. Thank you so much for joining me. I have some brand new sponsors. I also have some sponsors that have remained. So let's get to the presenting sponsors. Thank you so much to our presenting sponsors. Yucca Fence is a family-owned, trusted provider of high-quality fencing solutions with over 55 years of experience. They offer a wide variety of fencing from vinyl, wood, aluminum, chain link, and ornamental. They give you a free, no-obligation estimate and use the highest quality materials. For transparency and peace of mind, choose Yucca Fence for all your fencing needs. K9 Cruise is the place to take your pet. They offer dog and cat boarding, dog daycare, pet retail, and mindful day school. Tons of indoor space and a huge yard. K9 Cruise is your one-stop shop for professional pet care in Chicago. Kiki's Corner Natural Pet Foods in downtown Winfield, just a block south of CDH Hospital on the railroad tracks. Kiki's has all your food and health aid needs for dogs and cats. Kiki's Corner for a healthy, happy pet. Welcome, Yucca Fences. Thank you. We also have a few new supporting sponsors, which you'll hear more about later in the show. Thank you, everybody. I really appreciate all the support. It helps me with all my fees and all that. And we've got some great eyes on us. Speaking of great eyes, you guys will love this guest. Hello, Mike. How are you?
I'm great. You know, that fence sponsor would be great because then I don't have to look for as many dogs.
Right, exactly. They're like actually a perfect sponsor for this episode.
It's really great.
So I'm going to do just a little rewind here about how I met Mike. And for those of you that follow the local news, you saw the story of Charlie, the Bernese Mountain Dog that was lost and was actually spotted by Mike, who runs a drone company, which we're going to get to in a second. But I used to work for NBC5. So when I see these stories come through my feed, I immediately message all of my contacts at NBC. I also have other contacts at other news agencies. And the swarm of people that wanted to tell this story was incredible. And I will tell you, Mike, that without your video, it's not a story. So, I mean, do you agree with that?
Yeah, I've found dogs before and after, and Charlie's the famous one.
Yeah. So before, I just want everybody to see the video to understand kind of the magnitude, and then we're going to go back to like how this all started and the kind of the story of Charlie, but just the emotion that you will feel after this video, you guys will see. So give us a second.
So we get all our signage up. One phone call to confirm it.
Come on. Oh my God, got it. Yes, we got him. We got him. Oh my God, we got him. Oh my God, we got him.
He's looking. Oh, stop. Oh my God, you have no idea.
Oh my God.
What did I tell you? There's hope.
Okay, what we do? Okay, so I'm Mike. How are you?
I mean, it makes me teary. I think for anybody that has ever lost a dog, which I have, and she ended up being under my stairs, an old Chihuahua, or helped search for a dog, Huntley, who was on the loose for many, many months, who I was tracking through Chicago, who came from way north. It is that feeling of finding the dog I mean, you can hear the emotion in the voices. Is there any better high than that, Mike?
It really is not. And I do want to apologize during that audio. You know, I'm nearsighted, so I often have to take off my glasses, and I've got the controller right here, so I'm breathing into the remote like I'm Darth Vader. But no, there's no greater high than finding a dog. Unfortunately, there's also no lower low than when you have to pack up your stuff and you were unsuccessful.
Yeah, and again, we'll get to the kind of the Charlie story because I just love it. I think it shows the power of what you do, but also, you know, of the rescue community, of the Lost Dog Illinois community. This is like a very important part of finding animals. But before we get there, obviously this business, even 10 years ago, was totally different than it is now. So tell me how you got started. I know you have a full-time job as a teacher as well. So this is kind of like a side gig that has become pretty big for you.
Yeah, I'm an administrator at a local high school and teach some. I've got my real estate license, but after school, this is what I do, and I absolutely love it. I basically started 2014. I bought my first drone and told my wife that it was going to be my only drone. 7 drones later, here I am. But basically, at a certain point, I got my Part 107 license. That's what allows me to fly commercially. And I started taking real estate photos. That's kind of where I started. And then a buddy of mine suggested a thermal drone, which I got. And I was just a nerd. I liked the technology. I love dogs. I don't personally have any right now, but it did not occur to me that this was going to happen and I was going to get calls to start finding dogs. So it was kind of on a weird situation, and it took me a while to start finding them. I was going out on calls, but not finding a whole bunch. And then kind of the rest is history.
I mean, it really is incredible, I think, when you see the thermal, because that is really the key. And I love on your website how you explain like the perfect weather conditions, cloudy is better, after or before the sun rises, so that you can see the animal, basically the heat from their body. So can you kind of describe how that works? And we could see it in the video, how you could see that red spot, which that's the part that's amazing to me.
Yeah. And and you can, so basically using the thermal camera, I can choose different color palettes. So there's one that's like a black and white, and it uses a red tint for the things that are hotter. I kind of like that iron hot that video was taken in. But basically the hottest thing in the screen, it colors the most red, all the way to the coldest, which is kind of a blue. And it's just showing you the differences between the temperatures. And so this photo that's up right now is showing a dog named Murphy that I found in a train yard in Elmhurst. So it's just that little red dot kind of that stands out to me. And if it was a bright sun situation, lots of things in that photo would be heated up to the same temperature in that reflection. So you kind of you can do a search in bright sunlight, but it's a lot better when it's cloudy or dark.
Yeah, I mean, it's just so impressive that the advancement of drones, because I mean, when did that thermal technology come in?
Yeah, I mean, I bought my first thermal drone in, I think, December of 22 or something like that. And it took some getting used to as far as what I was seeing and interpreting what was on the screen, because it's definitely different. In some conditions, you can see the complete outline of what you're looking for, but a dog all curled up is going to look like a drain pipe. It's going to look like a lot of things. So really getting the familiarity of what you're looking at with the technology. And then also the drone itself, the technology to be able to fly in sometimes conditions when it's raining, snowy, really windy. My first drone, it would have just been taken away from all those things. But now with the advances in the technology, I can fly in the rain, the snow, the wind, and really whenever I need to look for a dog, I can go out and do it.
Yeah, I mean, just even if I think about drones when I worked for NBC Sports, so we would be getting like beauty shots of the city, and they looked good. I mean, it was different than other beauty shots that we were getting, but just like how clear it is. I mean, the fact that you could see Charlie, and I like on the video how somebody was like, "Oh, he's looking at us, like he sees the drone."
Yeah.
It's so cool how much you can see once you're locked in on something.
And I'm up 220 feet at that point, or something like that, when I was looking for Charlie. So obviously Charlie hears me because I've got a big noisy drone, but I'm not really close to him. I'm using the Zoom technology to not go in and disturb the dog. And, hopefully he doesn't run because of the drone. Typically they'll sit there and look up.
Yeah, incredible. So which dog was this? Because I know you sent me
this is Murphy. This is the one that we had the infrared shot. Yep, that's Murphy. Murphy took the Elmhurst police for a wild chase. He ran out onto I-290 and the police stopped traffic. He ran on the Metro tracks and the Pacific big freight tracks. And then they lost him. He went through kind of a train tunnel and they lost him. They contacted me the next day and I came out. These are the owners of Murphy that actually were in Phoenix when this all happened. They flew back. Their niece and nephew hired me and I found Murphy literally within 2 minutes. Like I was just explaining to them about the technology and how it was going to work. And I was like, let's go check out, like, for example, this red dot over here. And sure enough, it was Murphy. So I think, under 2 minutes to find Murphy. And then I think it took about 55 minutes to actually recover him. And just the tearful reunion. And she was crying on my shoulder and, it just warms your heart, even though that was a freezing night right there.
Yeah, and that's the thing that's so scary. It's just the temperature, even that Charlie was found in. I also think on your website, I really like this part where you said it's your job to locate, not recover. So if you have a drone on a dog, you obviously can't run to wherever so the communication there with whoever it is, the owner or recovery team, is so important.
Yeah, and you flashed up a photo of a brownish dog kind of looking at a live trap. That was Luca. And Luca I found, I think, 7 or 8 times over a 6-day period. So, even though I was finding Luca, I'd have to come back and change a battery and Luca was gone again. Or, Luca would get spooked by something or the owners would get close and Luca wasn't having it, and off Luca would run. So, there's a number of times that I'll go out and sometimes get owners within 10 yards of their dog. And I mean, peace of mind to be able to see the dog is one thing. I mean, they are very relieved to see their dog doing well and alive and all that. But then trying to get them into a mode, I know you want to run over there and just grab your dog or call to them, but instead you've got to play their game. Luca's dad basically sat down in a parking lot, and Luca would come closer and then go away and then come closer, and eventually got close enough that Luca could smell his dad, and the tail started going, and then you have the reunion. But I only have a certain amount of time that I can stay in the air, and that's what the Charlie find was great, because there was another drone pilot that had looked for Charlie for the previous days before I was hired. She's great, Kat from Doggone Pet Recovery. I had no idea Pat was operating in the north suburbs of Chicago until Charlie. We collaborated, and she came out on the day that I was starting my search, and she was there. She wasn't flying when I found Charlie, but she was there helping the owners interpret what was happening on the monitor so I could just concentrate on flying. And then when it came to that recovery time, we were taking turns. I'd change a battery. She was watching over the dog, because we didn't know yet that Charlie had been hit by the car and was a little, wasn't going to run. We were just afraid that it was going to turn into this chase scenario that I see from time to time.
Yeah, wow. I mean, that's almost better to have the two people, because there are obstacles that you face, which is, we talk about batteries. You have to switch out at some point, and you hope with the advancements of technology, eventually these drones will have longer lasting batteries. But yeah, you brought up something that's really important, and I've had guests on here talk about lost dog recovery, not chasing the dog, getting low, putting things out that they relate to and can smell. And when you lose your pet, all you want to do is run to them when you see them. I mean, it's so true, but you can't. That's why, like, the patience of that Luca's owner, it works out. And I think when people see the success stories like that, so important.
Yeah, I mean, I meet a lot of people through this on their worst day.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're going through this experience and this tragedy, and I get it. I mean, my brother has a dog. He's like, oh, if I called my dog would come. Well, 9 times out of 10, that's not what happens. Now with Murphy, I tell you that guy, he called his dog. Murphy went, oh, okay, it's time to come over now, and he did come over. But 9 times out of 10, that's where those volunteers, they're so important to educate the owners of the lost dog of kind of how this is done, right? Let's get the word out. Let's get sightings the best we can. I often talk to clients and I talk them out of hiring me. Like, the thermal drone is an awesome tool. It is, but I can't see under decks. Mm-hmm. If it's a residential area, there's so many places for the dog to hide, and there's so many heat sources. It's tough. It's tough in those scenarios. So very often I'm listening and hearing, have you worked with the volunteers? Do the volunteers also agree that this is the right tool and the right time? And then I also can't search an entire town. So we need to know, I have to fly over the dog to find it. So, making sure that we have a defined search area and places where the drone would be helpful.
Yeah, and I don't really like to bring up pricing, but if you go to his website and you see the price that he charges for this, for peace of mind and just knowing the dog isn't in an area or could be in an area, I mean, I would pay it.
I would love to do it for free, but my wife keeps telling me that's a terrible business model. But no, I still have not recouped the cost of these expensive toys.
Right.
And so, the charges are important to me to keep my costs as low as possible. Some people see that price and they're like, no, it's not worth it. But a lot of people see the peace of mind, even if it's like they haven't had a sighting and they're just wondering about this foresty area next to their house, and they just want to rule it out. And so that's kind of how I do it.
Yeah, which I think, worth every penny. It really is. Especially, you're an expert. You're certified. It's not, there's no funny business. But anyway, so this is, I believe, where Charlie was. And when you look at it, you're just like, oh boy, how am I even going to see in there? But kind of take us to, when you, obviously we saw in the video, but how did you get this job? Number one, I know that he had been out for a bit, but how did it happen that you helped them find him?
Yeah, so you'll have to cut me off if I talk too long, but basically on New Year's Eve, I was up with my family at a place in Wisconsin. I had no idea that Charlie had not come back one morning. So basically, New Year's Eve morning is when Dave and Kate let out Charlie and their other dog, or dogs, I'm not sure. And Charlie had been a mess, like rolling in the mud the day before. So they had taken off Charlie's collar, and Charlie didn't come back that New Year's Eve morning, about 5 a.m. I think on that photo where you see where the circled area where I recovered, or where I found Charlie, yeah, that Huntley Road is where Charlie was last seen. It was right after Charlie had escaped. So the owner's house is down that Field road, kind of to the left there. Somebody saw the dog cross Huntley Road and head kind of north, and that's the last that we saw of Charlie. I knew none of this. I was coming home with my family on January 2nd when I got a call about a lost dog named Flounder in Woodstock. And I agreed to come out the next day, so January 3rd, and I was able to find Flounder. And somebody then tagged me on the search for Charlie. So that's the first time that I was aware that Charlie was missing. There are a lot of scammers, unfortunately, that reach out to people as soon as they post they're missing a dog. And so I don't pursue jobs. They've got enough scam artists reaching out to them. So I really count on people referring me. But this is the first time I found out about Kat from Doggone Pet Recovery. She was already working the case and was flying. I looked her up. I had no idea that she was flying in the area as well, and found out she was using the same equipment. And I was like, Kat's got it. Kat actually couldn't do a search on a Sunday and told the owners, maybe you reach out to Mike. He's got a little bit more experience. She referred them to me. I got the call from Dave that morning, Sunday, January 5th, I think, and arrived on scene. I actually called Kat and said, hey, if you want to come out, I'd love to learn from you. You can learn from me. We can meet each other and collaborate on some of this. So took off, did a search kind of where the family wanted me to look, which was to the north. There was a golf course. Found some deer, but obviously no Charlie. Kat got there at about that time and was able to start talking with the owners, what they were seeing on the screen. And my second battery, I had seen this grassy area as I had drove in that morning on Huntley Road, kind of a walking trail. And I went, I want to check that out. And so I flew over there. And so I had been flying a total of about 50 minutes when you can hear me, breathing heavily into the controller and eventually saying, come on. It looked like the right shape, size, heat source. It was away from other things. It looked like that's close to the sighting. And it just looked right to me. And it happened to be Charlie. And then you hear, that whole, reaction from the owners. And then we turned it over to the volunteers, and Kat got her drone up in the air, and we started going back and forth. Kat was actually filming when Charlie eventually came out of the grassy area, and here you can see, that's a picture of as we were searching. I'm in the gray kind of, we're all looking away, but I'm in the farthest away person, and Kat is right by the monitor, kind of helping the volunteers and the client. And and then these are pictures right afterwards as they were driving to the emergency clinic. The funny thing is, I've never met Charlie, so they picked Charlie up right from the scene. I was still back at the owner's house, and so I haven't met Charlie yet. I think I get to meet Charlie on Friday, so I'm looking forward to it.
I mean, that has to be on film. I need to see that reunion. I know you've never met him, but you've seen him. I mean,
yes.
And I just love I think these kind of stories, like getting that into the media about people helping people find their dogs, and like that stuff is just amazing. It also teaches people a lesson about patience and things that you can do once your dog is lost. So I'm so happy to meet you and know that this exists. I think too, as technology gets better, do you have any thoughts on the future and what could be in your future with this kind of technology happening?
Oh man, because it's everybody's worst day when they meet me, I really do hope, the technology of the GPS collars comes a long way. So we're losing less dogs. That would be great. I can't imagine the advances from my very first drone in 2014 that I could barely keep in the same spot, and where we are today, where I can fly in 50-mile-per-hour winds when it's raining, and still be able to make out heat signatures in the complete darkness. I don't know where it's going. I do think my clients sometimes have the feeling like it is magic. They are impressed just seeing the screen. But I do think it's important for everybody to know I've got to be able to fly over the dog. The dog can't be under a hard structure. Like, I'm not going to find a dog under a deck and things like that. So while it is awesome and the right tool some of the time, it's also sometimes when it's not effective. So I guess I need to be able to see through decks. Maybe that advancement will come along.
You never know. And I will tell you, when I was helping with the search for Huntley, I didn't sleep. I mean, it is something, I'm going to cry. It's something that weighs very heavy because you know what these humans are going through. Yeah. And I will tell you, I had the same reaction because I was plugged into a camera that we had in a neighborhood in Chicago. Can't remember which one, but like near Irving Park. And we had a trail camera set up, and, we made a feeding station to get him to keep coming back. The first time that I saw him on camera, there's video of me from our Nest camera. I mean, it is a thing. It is just because that they're still alive. And we should note, actually, Charlie was hit by a car and had an extensive surgery. So he honestly, if you hadn't found him, he probably, unfortunately, would have died there. I mean, it's just the reality of it.
Yeah. I found a dog recently called Captain in Darien, Downers Grove, Darien border. And that was a 9-day search, right? So he had a retractable leash on him. There would be days when we wouldn't have any sightings at all. We had no idea if whenever we would stop getting sightings, the leash was caught on something. And eventually it was caught on something like, day 9 or day 8, I can't remember. He was caught and it was not going any place after that. So you do, when you see the dog on camera, or that find, it was just me in my car. So
right.
All the audio was like, oh my gosh, okay. Now what do? I got to call somebody,
Yeah.
But I'm currently looking for dogs that are lost. That there's been one sighting like immediately after the dog ran, and there's Nala in Batavia. Mm-hmm. I've been out a number of times. I'm just living and dying through every sighting, whether it's good or bad. And unfortunately, there are dogs that I've been out to multiple times, and I'm still just on the edge of my seat hoping that there's going to be that next sighting and can get me going out there. There was a dog in Elk Grove, Vivi, that I went out a number of times. Cat went out a couple of times. Vivi was found underneath a trailer in a business park. Again, I'm not going to find that dog. So I cannot stress enough how important it is. The volunteers, they're the real heroes that coordinate things and keep the dog in social media so people are looking, because I can't look everywhere. And but yeah, you're right. I mean, there have been times when I've unfortunately been the last person to see the dog. Owners see them on my camera. For whatever reason, we can't make the recovery that night, and the dog's never seen again, or hit by a car, or those type of things. So there's a good, a bad. But seeing your dog alive and everything, it's priceless.
Yeah, and for sure, focusing on the good that comes of it is important. Otherwise, it'll eat you alive. I totally
Yeah.
understand that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mike, for everything you do. I mean, it's just incredible. I'm so glad you came on here. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, and thanks for telling all the news people about me. That was great.
Yeah, keep up the great work. Thank you, Mike.
Thanks for having me on.
Supporting sponsors, you're up. Thank you so much. Thank you so much to our supporting sponsors. On the corner of Montrose and Troy in Chicago's Irving Park neighborhood, you'll find a hidden gem known as Temple Stowe Pub. They have a great selection of local draft beers, and the Malort is always flowing. Oh boy. Join us for charity bingo nights or tap takeovers with local breweries. Don't want to leave your dog at home? Bring them with you. Whether you're throwing darts or playing a banger on the jukebox, you're guaranteed to have an awesome time. Head on over to 3135 West Montrose and look for the old style sign. The Canine PT is Chicago's highest rated dog physical therapy clinic, and they're dedicated to enhancing the lives of your four-legged companions as they age or while recovering from an injury. There is no better gift than pain relief and extended mobility for your furry friends. They also offer a discount for rescue dogs. For more information, visit thecaninepT.com. Intuitive animal behavior dog training, positive reinforcement, force-free and fear-free training solutions for every single dog. Jenna offers individual training, behavioral boarding, shelter support, and positive reinforcement board and train services. Creating an environment that is happy and healthy for your pets is so important. For more information, go to her website, intuitiveanimalbehavior.com. Thank you so much, Mike from Smithic Air. I appreciate it. Go follow him. His Facebook page is amazing. Thank you, everybody, for listening and watching. I appreciate it. Have a great day. Bye-bye.